I had no idea that Angel Reese didn't even bother to show up, did not show up to support her teammates. It was that unimportant, but yet took a victory lap that you won a championship?
Angel Reese just pulled off one of the most embarrassing championship celebrations ever. She's out here bragging about a title, acting like she just made history. But there's a problem. She didn't even play in the final games. That's right. While her team was fighting for a championship, Reese was nowhere to be found. She wasn't in the arena. She wasn't on the court. She didn't show up, but that didn't stop her from taking a victory lap. It didn't stop the media from hyping her up like she was the MVP. And now, the internet is roasting her for it. So what really happened? Why is Angel Reese pretending this is a big deal? And why is the media trying so hard to make her a superstar? Let's start with the facts. The championship that Angel Reese is bragging about, it wasn't an NCAA title. It wasn't a WNBA championship. It wasn't even a real 5-on-5 league. This was unrivaled, a brand new 3-on-3 tournament, a league that was supposed to be game-changing for women's basketball, but almost no one was watching. Unlike the NBA, WNBA, or even college basketball, this tournament came and went without making any real impact. Even ESPN, which tried to give it some attention, couldn't make it seem like a big deal. And the biggest sign that this wasn't important? Angel Reese didn't even bother to show up for the final games.
10. She went to LeBron James's youngest son's high school state championship game. If this championship mattered, she would show up.
That's right. While her teammates were out there grinding, she was somewhere else. Instead of being with her team, she was at LeBron James' son's high school basketball game. Let that sink in. If this championship really mattered to her, she would have been there. But instead, she skipped the last 2 playoff games, including the championship, and then celebrated like she won it all. Now imagine if Caitlin Clark, Aja Wilson, or Breanna Stewart missed a championship game and still called themselves a champion. People would never let them live it down. But when it comes to Angel Reese, the media keeps pushing a fake narrative. The real question is, why? Why is the media so desperate to make this a big deal? And why is Angel Reese pretending like she actually accomplished something? The internet is calling her out, and honestly, they're not wrong. The moment her team won, Angel Reese wasted no time celebrating. She took to social media, posting cryptic messages like, "What y'all gonna say now?" As if she had just proved all her doubters wrong, as if she had just led her team to a championship with an MVP performance. But she didn't play in the final 2 games. She wasn't even in the building. She wasn't on the court. She wasn't on the bench, and she wasn't part of the grind that actually led to the championship win. Instead, while her teammates were battling in the playoffs, Reese was at a high school basketball game watching LeBron James' son play. Let that sink in. A player who is now bragging about a championship chose to attend a high school game instead of showing up for her own team's most important moment. And it gets worse. Reese didn't just skip the game, she FaceTimed into the post-game celebration. That's right, instead of being there with her teammates, she called in on a phone, as if that somehow made her part of the victory.
She was the rebounding queen of the WNBA. Now she has a championship in the unrivaled, and she's Defensive Player of the Year.
Imagine Michael Jordan missing Game 6 of the NBA Finals, then FaceTiming into the locker room and celebrating like he led the team to a title. It would never happen. Imagine Caitlin Clark or Aja Wilson skipping a championship game and then claiming credit for the win. They would get destroyed for it. But for some reason, the media gave Reese a free pass. The second her team won, the media hype machine kicked into overdrive. Suddenly, Reese was being celebrated as if she had just added another legendary moment to her career. Articles started popping up, listing this unrivaled championship next to her LSU title and WNBA rebounding records. Her supporters flooded Twitter, calling her a champion. The way they were talking, you would think she had just hit a game-winning shot at the buzzer. But this wasn't an NCAA title. This wasn't a real championship. This wasn't even 5-on-5 basketball. It was a small 3-on-3 tournament that almost no one watched. And the most embarrassing part? Her team actually played better without her. Chelsea Gray stepped up and dominated in the final game. The team moved the ball better, played smarter, and didn't need Reese at all. If anything, her absence may have helped them win. But instead of admitting that, Reese ran to social media celebrating a win she had nothing to do with. And the internet? They weren't buying it. The second Angel Reese started bragging about this championship, the internet exploded with criticism. People weren't just calling her out, they were roasting her. One viral post summed it up perfectly. She thought so much of this championship that she didn't even show up. Another Twitter user joked, "Imagine skipping your own championship game then taking a victory lap like you won it all." And it didn't stop there. Fans dug even deeper into the ridiculous way the media was covering this. ESPN and other sports outlets rushed to celebrate Reese, ignoring the fact that she wasn't even on the court. They put her name in headlines, pretending like this was some major moment in women's basketball history. But fans weren't fooled. They pointed out how Caitlin Clark, Aja Wilson, and Breanna Stewart would have been ripped apart if they tried to take credit for a win they didn't contribute to. They questioned why the media was so desperate to make Reese a superstar, even when the facts didn't back it up.
She should have. Bang! Did, however, win Defensive Player of the Year. I would have given it to the rim.
Unlike the WNBA or NCAA basketball, this tournament had no real stakes. The best players in the game weren't even in it. Caitlin Clark wasn't there, Aja Wilson wasn't there, Kelsey Plum wasn't there. Even Sabrina Ionescu, who was originally part of the league, backed out early because she knew this wasn't real professional basketball. So why is the media pushing this so hard? Why are they acting like Reese winning an unrivaled title without even playing is something worth celebrating? Because they're desperate to make Angel Reese a superstar. They want her to be the face of women's basketball. They want her to be the next big thing. But the problem is her actual performance doesn't match the hype, and fans are starting to see through it. The real question is, how much longer can the media keep this up? How long can they keep pushing this fake narrative before reality catches up? Because one thing is clear, bragging about a championship you didn't even play in, that's not greatness, that's just embarrassing. At this point, it's impossible to ignore. The media is working overtime to push Angel Reese as a superstar, even when the facts don't support it. This isn't the first time we've seen it happen. Over the past 2 years, Reese has been promoted as the face of women's basketball, despite the fact that her actual performances haven't lived up to the hype. The sports media keeps listing her LSU championship, WNBA rebounding stats, and now this unrivaled title as if they are all equal accomplishments. But the reality is, they aren't. Winning a national championship in the NCAA is a real achievement. Becoming one of the top rebounders in the WNBA as a rookie, that's impressive. But celebrating a 3-on-3 tournament win that she didn't even play in, that's not a career milestone. That's not something that should be listed alongside real, hard-earned titles.
A member of the Rose, they won the inaugural unrivaled championship last night.
I guess if you want to take a victory lap on that, you can.
The media is desperate to make Reese a major star, and they are willing to bend reality to do it. They ignored the fact that she didn't play in the final 2 games. They plastered her name in headlines, acting like this was some historic moment for women's basketball. They even compared this win to her LSU championship, which is downright ridiculous. But the biggest problem? The best players in the WNBA aren't buying it. Aja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Kelsey Plum, none of them were involved in this tournament. Even Sabrina Ionescu, who was originally part of Unrivaled, backed out early. Why? Because she and other elite players understand this isn't real basketball. It's an off-season event, not a championship that means anything. So why is Angel Reese acting like this is a huge moment in her career? Why is she trying to take credit for a win she didn't contribute to? Because she knows the media will protect her. The truth is, if Caitlin Clark or any other major player tried to do this, they would be destroyed. Imagine if Clark skipped a championship game, then bragged on social media as if she had carried her team to victory. The backlash would be relentless. Sports analysts would rip her apart, fans would never let her live it down, but for some reason when Angel Reese does it, the media rushes to defend her. They are forcing a narrative that just doesn't hold up, and at some point reality is going to catch up. Angel Reese wants to be remembered as one of the greatest players in women's basketball history. She wants to be seen as an icon, a champion, and a leader. But greatness isn't built on media hype, it's built on performance, hard work, and delivering in the biggest moments. Skipping a championship game and then taking a victory lap on social media isn't what great players do. It's what players who care more about attention than success do. Reese has real talent. She has the potential to be a dominant force in the WNBA. But moments like this hurt her reputation. They make her look unserious. They make it seem like she cares more about personal branding than actually proving herself on the court. The best players in the game, Caitlin Clark, Aja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, earn their moments. They don't pretend to be champions when they didn't contribute. They don't need the media to manufacture success for them. They prove it with their play. Right now, Reese is riding a wave of social media hype and media protection. But how long can that last? At some point, the fans, the media, and even the WNBA itself will start expecting results. And when that day comes, Reese won't be able to hide behind fake championships. She'll have to prove she belongs among the best or risk fading into irrelevance. The media can only push a fake narrative for so long. Fans are already starting to see through it. This unrivaled championship celebration was the the latest example of how the sports world treats Angel Reese differently. If any other player tried to do this, they would be mocked endlessly. But Reese, she gets a free pass.
Big leagues, if you want to be somebody that transcends the game, you got to have a personality. I will give Angel Reese this. She has a personality. It's ignorance. It's stupid. I mean, it's really stupid.
So here's the real question. How much longer can this illusion last? At some point, Angel Reese is going to have to prove herself on the court. She won't be able to rely on media hype or social media celebrations. She'll have to show that she belongs among the best in the WNBA. And if she doesn't, the media won't be able to protect her forever. What do you think? Does Angel Reese deserve credit for this so-called championship? Or is this just another case of the media hyping up something that doesn't actually matter? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more sports updates. This conversation isn't over.